focus is to help create a return on your investment. I want to introduce you to Kelly Hansen. Kelly is a CPA, former tax partner with a firm in Sacramento. She was also a tax manager with KPMG before she has a great experience background, having worked with CCH and RIA, which is now Thomson Reuters. So she is just an outstanding presenter. You're going to enjoy working with her today. She's in transition right now, moving from Sedona, near Phoenix, up to Denver. But she really represents us well on the West Coast and gives us a lot of reach out here. We're going to be starting a new Rainmaker class at the end of August, as a matter of fact, in San Diego. So just to let you know that we'll be a part of that.
And I'd like to introduce you to Troy Watt. Troy is the founder and CEO of the Rainmaker Companies, which is made up of the Rainmaker Academy, the Rainmaker Consulting Group, and the Rainmaker Alliance Organization. Troy started his career back with Price Waterhouse, where he was in audit, so I'm the tax representative.
Before it was a Coopers. Long time.
Long before PwC. And then he went off and did some other things with firms and was inspired to help transform the lives of accountants and decided, looked at it and said, hey, there's no one out there helping accountants grow their business, really teaching them how to build their practice. So it encouraged him to start the Rainmaker Academy. He's been recognized as one of the top most recommended consultants by Inside Public Accounting. He's also been on the list of the top 100 most influential people with the Accounting Today for the last 8 years.
Let's just keep on.
I know, and he's also the author of 3 books. I don't know where he finds the time. A really good one, which I highly recommend because I've really enjoyed it, which is Power of Your Profits. Talks a lot about what we're going to be talking about today in this most recent one, leading a firm.
We've been very fortunate at our company in the last 20 years to develop 3 divisions. We have about 25 people on our team. One of our divisions is our Alliance Division. Representing our Alliance Division today is Adelaide Ness.
Hello.
She is here. She represents our international group of accounting firms, in which we have about 80 firms in about 40 countries. And Adelaide has been on our team, almost 8 years now?
7.5, yeah.
Yeah. And so she's helped us build our international group, and so she runs our international association. In addition to that, we have 6 other alliances that are industry associations for accountants who specialize in one of 6: healthcare, construction and real estate, community banking, auto dealers, manufacturing.
Real estate and construction.
I said real estate and construction, not-for-profits. I always forget one. But then we have our Rainmaker Consulting Group, and we function as a part-time marketing partner, part-time growth partner for smaller and medium-sized firms. And then, of course, our Rainmaker Academy. So that's what we're doing today.
And one of the things, Troy, I don't even know if he's aware of this, but I actually grew up a local girl. I grew up in the East Bay. Went to Chico State, started my career over in San Francisco. So I lived in Campbell, and it's nice to be home for a little while. So I'd like to go ahead and talk about, so Troy talked a little bit about finding that 100 hours. So let me go ahead and ask, I remember back in the day, finding myself at the end of a very long day, 12 or 13 hours, having been in the office. It's time to do my timesheet. And I'm only about 5 hours with the chargeable time on it. And I can't think about where the rest of the time went. And where does that time usually end up on your timesheet? Office admin, non-billable, trying to figure out where did it go, what did I do? And also that sense of did I really actually even accomplish something? Anything big? Did I cross one of those major things off my list? So just on average, you can throw out some numbers. How many non-billable hours do you find yourself with over the course of a year?
that apply to most of your partners?
Sure.
About that?
So we're going to talk about, firms, they've always been really, really good at managing billable hours. But the firms that find a way to really manage those non-billable hours are the ones that grow. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So how many of you are familiar with the time management matrix? Have you ever come across this?
Covey.
Yep. Stephen Covey has it in his book. It's interesting because Benjamin Franklin, we attribute a lot of things to Benjamin Franklin. It's probably the Egyptians, it seems like everything started with them in some ways. But Benjamin Franklin, as far as we know, was one of the first people to really categorize his time, really decide where and how he was going to spend his time. And then General Dwight D. Eisenhower, as he was getting ready to go off and fight World War II, thought it would probably be a really good idea if he focused on, how to go about where it would be important to spend certain segments of his time, because it probably wouldn't be such a great idea to just end up fighting a battle after battle after battle without any planning, right? So what we want to focus on today is coming up with some ideas of where we are spending those non-billable hours.
The first sheet in your handouts that I passed around, if you go back to that second sheet there, you'll find there is a matrix. There you go.
We want to find out, where are some of our non-billable hours going, and how can we maybe get a little bit better handle on them and start using them a little bit more effectively to really focus them and grow our business. So when you think about, what Eisenhower did is he decided to categorize time in two ways. First, based on the level of urgency, how urgent is this task, and then the level of importance. So if you look at the first quadrant here, quadrant 1, what are some of the non-billable things that come up that are urgent and important? Demand your time right away and just seem to suck the whole day away. Billing, okay.
Telephone.
The telephone, demand your time immediately.
Staffing problem or termination.
Okay. Scheduling. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and write some of these down for yourself? Just anything that comes up. Corinne, is there anything in particular that comes up for you?
That's what I was scheduling, is what came to mind.
Scheduling?
Staff managing, I guess. It doesn't not completely client specific, but just working out all the details.
This is last minute drama. Someone's in your office. Oh my gosh, you don't believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like technology issues.
Oh yeah. We love it when our computer just doesn't work. We almost didn't make it here today, so we couldn't get Troy's GPS to work. And then I was like, move it in figure 8, and
It worked.
it did work.
Yeah, I did
Once
that.
we got moving, it worked. But in California, you're not supposed to drive and hold your phone at the same time, so I'm sitting there thinking, we could get in trouble. Let me ask you, so if all you did was answer the phone constantly and deal with the staffing and scheduling issues all the time, and constantly, computers, constantly crashing and the software's freezing up, what would happen? How would you feel at the end of the day? Completely burn out? Yeah, so not really helpful to spend our day there. So we want to talk about ways to really go about, to the extent that we can, managing those interruptions or the crises, anything we can do. Again, if we were, constantly fighting that battle, not to equate what we do with a battle, but sometimes it can feel like it, we can get really, really burnt out. So what about down in quadrant 3? What are some things that appear urgent, but really aren't important to you? What are some things that might come up in that quadrant?
Cake time.
Cake time. Tell us about cake time.
Every month, birthdays, we have cake time. And we all come together. And
So they're like, okay, there's cake
happy
time.
birthday, and I don't know, it's just to me.
Yeah,
I think it's important for the staff, but at the same time, I always feel like I'm being pulled away from something that's more important.
Okay. What about when it's your birthday?
You know what? I'd rather not celebrate my birthday. I'd rather not. We used to do it everybody's birthday. We were a firm of 25, so it felt like we were doing birthdays all the time. And now we do just once a month.
cake time. That's a first.
It's just a first.
Okay.
That's what popped in my head.
What other quadrant 3 activities come up for you in your mind? Things that are, demand your immediate attention, but like cake time, you're like, really? I could so be doing something else right now.
A lot of interruptions, don't you?
So sometimes the phone call that might show up. Sometimes even the staff person coming into your office and you're thinking, really? Really? You're bothering me with this?
Yeah.
Any other things that you can kind of think of that end up there?
How many of you have the dinger on your email so when an email comes in, you hear it?
Yeah, emails, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Email.
Emails just seems like, oh, what's that? And,
Yeah, but isn't it under urgent?
it's urgent, yeah. It thinks it's urgent.
Is it urgent? I mean, like urgent.
That's the problem I'm having with if it's urgent, how is it unimportant?
Well, but some things are. So that dinger on the email, it's like, read me, and then
Oh,
you
I
open it
see.
up and it's an ad from Target. And you're
Yeah,
thinking,
it's not your
really?
definition of urgent.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's also not important to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the key with the category 3 items is a lot of times these things can be important. They can be staffing issues, it can be IT issues as well, it can be email, but it's not important for you. It can be cake time. It's not important for you to handle in that moment. So the key with quadrant 3 activities is to recognize the level of importance they carry for you. And the one thing that's not important to you, what's something that you can do with it?
The
Delegate.
delete button comes to mind.
What's that?
The delete button comes to mind.
And delete, yeah. Delete it, delegate it. There's a book out there, Get Things Done. It's got the 4 Ds. Do it, delete it, delegate it, or delay it. So anything you can do to move those quadrant 3 activities, because my personal, definition of this category is the flip out category. Because it's like you're bringing stuff to me that really, it's that emergency. You guys heard the, failure to plan on your part is not an emergency, make on mine. Those are quadrant 3 activities. So really being aware when things come across your desk, maybe it seems urgent, but is it really important that I handle it?
One of the things that happens is so much of our client work is both urgent and important because it's deadline driven. It's important that we get paid for it, that we solve the client issues. What happens oftentimes is we get addicted to the urgent and important. And we've got to be careful that we don't lose our ability to separate between what's really important and what's not important. Because if we're addicted to the urgent, those things that are unimportant seem to have that same urgency for us, that we've got to handle them, and we lose our sense of priority. So we've got to guard against that, and that's what leads us into quadrant 3 too often.
And then what about what kind of things come up for you when I say it's not urgent and it's not important, but yet it still ends up demanding your attention somehow, or you just find yourself there throughout the day? What types of things might come up that, we're thinking about non-billable hours, the hours that just get lost during the day. What might you have been doing?
Just getting caught up with someone, what they did over the weekend.
Just
Thinking that, although I do feel like it's important to have that social interaction within the office. It's part of our culture, but it does take time.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Yeah, so some socializing, catching up with, people in the office.
And this is important, but not as urgent, so maybe it's another quadrant, but your updates, like your, all the tax and the, the publications and emails that we get for updates, and sometimes you start reading that and then, 15 minutes has gone by and you should be doing, which is good. It's still important. You need to keep updated and read about the news headline, the headlines for our profession, but at the same time, it's one of those things that's hard. There's never really a good time, because it seems
Fixing that to quadrant 4, though, are a total waste of your time. Things
so
like video games and solitaire and
Facebook.
like your Facebook,
surfing the
that can-
internet,
Yeah.
cleaning your email inbox.
For me, it's Sudoku.
Oh, I like that.
For me, I can wander over to Facebook and be like, oh, what are my friends doing now,